Russell, physicist and spiritual teacher, was known in his life to have an answering machine that when you would call him, it would say, "This is not an answering machine. It is a questioning machine. Who are you and what do you want?" And then there would be a space. And then his voice would go on to say, "You may think that that's a trivial question. However, most people come on earth and leave this earth and never answer those two questions. Who are you and what do you want?" Who are you and what do you want? I was thinking this week about how boxes bind us and how they get in our way of a reality. Simple things like, well, this is the way I've always been. This is how I am. Well, what else do you expect from me? I'm doing the best I can. Oh, poor little you, doing the best you can. You've already disclaimed that connection to something that's greater than you are, yes? What are the boxes? As we're talking about, honoring in Black History Month, what are the boxes that you have around that? What are boxes you have about same-sex marriages and relationships? Often people say, "I'm comfortable with that as long as it's not anywhere in my world." I'm comfortable with that as long as I see it on TV, but I'm not necessarily comfortable when you bring it right home to me. Yes? What are your boxes? What are your boxes that you hold? Could it be addiction? We have many. And why do we need them? Because they bind us, because they hold us back. The best thing we can do in this life is we can create the circle. A circle that expands to bring more and more in, a circle that expands that brings more love in, etc. I was thinking about at 1920 of taking the Lessons in Truth course from Emily Cady. And the first chapter says, freedom or bondage. Freedom or bondage. And I've never forgotten that. In what ways am I still moving forward to be free? Say that with me. In what ways am I still moving forward to be free? I'm either free or I'm in bondage. It's like straddling a fence. There's no in between. You're either on one side or the other. And it can be painful if you are focusing on the bondage things and not allowing yourself to change. And that's being in a box. I love what she said. I'm paraphrasing. That with every person, there comes a time when you totally surrender to the God of your creation, the God of your making, Lord, law. There comes a time when you realize it's really up to the two of those things within your life. You can be temporarily popular. You can have lots of followers on Facebook. You can have yada yada in social media. You can have stacked emails. But at the end of the day, your ability to be healthy, wealthy, living a vibrant life force is not because of popularity. It is because you are drawing from something that is greater than yourself. Does this work for you? Do you agree? So let's think about some of those boxes. I have the good pleasure every Monday and Friday, yes I do, to get up extremely early and take Miracle, my 5-year-old, to school. And so what's so interesting is they told us the time that we are to arrive at 8:45, yes? And so we get there, it's 8:45, and I'm signing her in, and I go, well, where is everybody? Oh, well, it's Monday. Oh, okay, I thought we need to get them here at 8:45. Yeah, but it's Monday. And then on Friday, it's like, we're the only ones here. Yes, it's Friday. And I'm thinking to myself, this is American programming, isn't it? It's like we are creating these children to understand that we can lower our standards. because of a day of the week, it's not as significant as it is on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and all the other days. And what if the doctor comes to your surgery and goes, it's Monday, man. I'll get there when I get there, as you're laying there waiting for something to occur in your life. Why are we lowering our standards? And when did we cross over to a place in a box that says that we're supposed to apologize because we hold somebody to having them? Right? I mean, when the true teachers of metaphysics were out there, they hold people to a higher calling of do not lower your standards. Do not say, well, it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. And make excuses for yourself. No way. As I'm watching what she's going through in school, I'm like, well, that explains it as to why I was a recruiter. And on Monday, they talked about the weekend they had till almost after lunch. Imagine paying people by the hour. They don't do anything for the first hours that they're there. And on Friday, they stopped at 11 telling everybody what they were going to do for the weekend. So, yes, it's quite interesting, but where do we stop from lowering our standards? In relationship, in love, in friendship. We teach people how to treat us. We teach people. And if we're walking around in a box lowering our standards, guess what other people are doing when it comes to us? Guess what other people are doing in the energy around us, lowering their standards as well, yes? There was a philosophy professor, Ron Nash, that he was talking to the Russian scientist. And he said, I understand that all your life you have been taught there's no such thing as a miracle. He said, but look at these two boxes. One of them is closed. And he said, those are the people like you that just live in the material world only. But look at this second box, and the top is open. These are people that, yes, they believe in the material world, they live in it, but on the other hand, they stay open for the intervention of God. I love that. Getting ready to have this wonderful, delicious, juicy intervention of God. Yes, you don't always need the sky to part and the big voice to come over you to have this awareness. Yes, to have this energetic presence. The other thing that we have that is a box in our society is that we allow fear to stop us. We don't even spend the time to understand it. When we're facing something, when we're looking at something, we don't even necessarily ask ourselves, who are you and what do you want? We go, oh, I feel afraid. Oh, I feel this space of, I'm afraid. And we're letting it stop us without even really delving into it and asking it, what does it want? Asking it, why are you stopping me? And why is it important? Am I lowering my standard? Or is it because in societal belief it's acceptable that I can say I'm afraid of something? I can't tell you the number of people at the end of their lives, they're talking about the things that they were afraid of. If only they had that moment to fully soar and surge, what would that be like? Years ago, I was going to visit my brother. We were going to meet at my aunt and uncle's river house, and it's outside of Beaufort. And we're going way back to, I was in my middle 20s. Well, we're not going that far back, excuse me. But we're going back to a time that we weren't using mobile phones, that's for sure. And we're going back to a time that in order to get to my aunt and uncle's house, we had to count railroad tracks and 2 cotton fields. That's how out in the country that this place was on the water. And so I went there, and I was waiting for my brother and his family to come, and I called my mom from a landline. Yes, we had those now. Do y'all remember those plastic box things that we called landlines? And so it was getting dark, and I had called my mom to say, well, where do you think Nelson is? I'm still waiting. I haven't seen him. And all of a sudden, the power in the whole house went out. And as I'm talking to Mom, yes, the phone got clipped, totally off. No longer working, bang, 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 bang. And my hair went straight off of my head. And I went, oh my gosh, somebody's here. And you know how your mind gets going? somebody's on the property. They found me way out here in the boonies. Oh my gosh, somebody's here. I was just getting so terrified. So what did I do? I went out on the wraparound porch and I said, here I am. And if you're going to take me, let's just go ahead and get it done. Let's just deal with it right now. Just get it over with. And the moment I did that, it all dissipated. It all went away. It was no longer an issue. You stand before it in your mighty energy. And it's a box that for so many people is such an excuse. And there's no reason. There's no reason to be concerned with what people think of you, whether you will be accepted or not, whether people will think that you're really good at what you do. The one person that matters is you. That's the person you want to convince. And that's the person you want to be bold and stand for. You know, little children, they love those boxes, right? They can make them into caves, they can make them into trains, they can make them into cars, you know, or you have a good fine cat and they can make it into a place that they actually think that they're hiding from you. But there comes a time in adulthood with our own spirituality that we need to invite people even into our lives to say, when you see me sounding like I'm in a box, or I'm letting age be my cage, or I'm starting to be limited, or I'm apologizing for myself, please call me. Please call me on my stuff. Reverend Deborah Johnson in Santa Rosa, California, we're on the Association of Global New Thought team together. And she says, you know, there's a big difference between having good intentions, goals and resolutions and plans and those kind of things, rather than living with intent. Living with intent. And she said, think about living with the intent of forgiveness. So you have a 4-year-old, and you're going to invite 15 more 4-year-olds to come to a birthday party for your child. Now, you already know if you have that many little 4-year-olds coming to your house, something's going to be broken. Something's going to be spilled over. They're going to knock something over. It's going to be so chaotic. And yet, at the same time, you have the common sense, right? To live with intent to know that that's going to happen. The same thing is true when you make a statement for your life. The same thing is true when you make a statement for your community, or how you vote by the way that you live, or what you stand for. You must allow room for a lot of those 4-year-olds that are in the world, that are in 40, 50-year-old bodies, and live with the intent of forgiveness, that when they know better, they'll do better. When they'll know better, they will be better. But until then, you allow yourself to live with the intent that you may even be the change agent and not even be aware that you're doing it. Yes? That energy, that essence, that love force. Here I am, God. Here I am, Lord. What is mine to be today? What is mine to be expressed today? You know, many people are celebrating today, Super Bowl, right? Super Bowl. And you look at these teams that are there, they're not just there for 2 teams to pick that who's going to win. Think about the years that every person there in a uniform, think about what they have done. Think about the investment they have made. Think about the plays they have learned. Think about the other plays they have used when there's opposition. Think about how they have aligned themselves to prepare for what they may face. And we anticipate it, that somebody will do it when it comes to a big game in America called baseball or football or those kind of things. But why do we not expect it when it comes to the one thing that ultimately matters in the big game of life, and that's called our spiritual connection to God? Are we preparing? Do we spend time? Are we getting ready? Do we understand the rules of the playing field? It's called staying the course. It's called continuing to practice. It's called test the universe. With all the things that you face, don't lower your standards. Don't lower your standards. That's why every week I say we are the most innovative, electrifying, energetic, spiritual community in the world. Why? Because we're growing into that. Because we're growing into that. When you look in the mirror and go, you're the greatest person I will ever know in my life, and you are phenomenal. You're growing into that. And that little monkey mind might be saying all kind of things. Yeah, but you know you are gay, and you know you are this, and you know you are that, and you know you are that. And you just go, I am here expressing the universe. That is an old story. That is not my story. That is an old story. That is not my story. That is not the energetic story. Yes? Michael Jordan talks about the 9,000 games that he lost. He talks about the 26 times that he was asked to save a game with the final shot, and he missed every one of them. He talks about all the things that he did, and he said, yes, you're right. I failed many times, but that's why I'm a success. That's why I'm a success. You know, there's a big difference between being certified and being dignified. We have so many people in the world that they're certified. They took the course. They have the certificate. They are certified, but are they dignified? Certified is that based on somebody else's existing system, you have been given authorization to be a certain way. Oh, I'm certified. Look, it's on my frame. It's on my wall. I'm certified. I can do this. Yes, absolutely. But are you dignified? Because when you're dignified, you can't do it in the form in which you learned it. You can't teach it in the way that somebody taught you. You've got to go out and expand that awareness to do it your way, to allow that energy and that creativity to come through. You've got to get out of the box. You've got to get out of the box. Somebody was asking me the other day, I understand that the first group you ever had as a minister, there were 7 people there. You know, and the week before you had 60-something when you first opened. And how did that work? And I said, well, 60 of those people were my friends or my colleagues, and the 7 people were really committed to the work in the city that I was going to be in. And I said, but I never made an adjustment. I didn't go, oh, there's just 7 people here. My certificate says I ought to be more successful than that. I talked to those 7 people as if there were 700, as if there were 7,000. Now, they sweated. Yeah, they kept elbowing each other. They were going, gosh, she expecting us to do all that stuff? But I stayed in that space because I went from what I was certified for to what I was dignified to do, that knowing that I had spent my whole life to prepare to stand there in that moment, just like those guys are running out on that field today. It's not like they just signed up in a week. They are getting dignified to what they are facing and what lies ahead. Dignify God. Dignify your Creator. Dignify your life by showing us something we've yet to see. Who are you? And what do you want? And why don't you have it? And what box is in your way? Don't wait to the afterlife. Wait to the life that's happening after this change in your awareness. Don't just get entertained with near-death experiences. Get filled up by near-life experiences. Let the near-life experiences call you by your name and stand in that place of glory of what is possible for your experience. So a school teacher was retiring, and the little boy that his dad had a florist shop he bought a box of flowers, and the little girl that her dad owned a candy shop, she bought the teacher a box of candy. And so one little boy walked up, and it was this big case, the teacher goes to take it, and he goes, "Here, this is my gift to you, and I want you to have it." And it was wet and water, and she goes, "It's champagne? Is it wine? Because it's coming out of the box. It's all wet." But I'm thrilled to take it, because at least I'll have a few bottles left. And the little boy looked at the teacher and said, "No, it's a puppy." Be mindful of what you say yes to before you're so quick to accept that box. Bless you. Thank you for coming.